Things power people. I'm always excited when I get to yap with you on the internet and be able to share these powerful conversations. And as promised, I am delivering some incredible women, powerhouses, people that I know and admire for their intelligence, their passion, their power. And so I just want to know how y'all are doing with the pressure. Because if you have experienced 2023 the way we have experienced 2023, then I know that the demand from spirit to evolve, to transform, to be a little more whole has created some pressure. Put an exclamation mark in the chat box if you're able to say, yep, I'm feeling some pressure. Go ahead and put it in the comment section below this video. Yeah, pressure. And so I have an incredible soul here who I'm going to introduce formally to you, who is going to have this conversation with me as I have it with you all. And so Charessa Freeman, aka the emotional alchemist. Everybody say, ooh. I love it. Ooh, the emotional alchemist come through.
Yes.
Is a mogul that dives deep into the emotional body and assists with bringing forgotten traumas to the forefront to be healed. Since a very young age, she would ask tons of questions in the pursuit to find out why people do what they do. By the age of 10, she took on the assignment of finding natural alternatives to assist her mother with her healing. On that journey of discovery, her mother realized she needed healing not just physically, spiritually, and mentally as well. With a myriad of natural healing modalities and medicines such as womb steaming, connecting with her womb, plant medicines, and meditation, Charessa has healed herself from chronic depression, a crippling case of eczema, irritable bowel syndrome, and irregular menstrual bleeding. Through her time working with women in the maternity care field, she assisted women in building a foundation for themselves. And she has assisted over 70 mothers in birthing their babies and breastfeeding. She has a heart for women and is the driving force for the energy she uses to serve. The realization and confirmation that she is spirit first and human second has led her to focus on the emotional body and link those emotions to the traumas that they create and treat the root cause to gain empowerment. The mission is to be a witness to women and assist in building their foundation physically, mentally, and spiritually so that they can be empowered. And P.S. if oh, I was reading the rest of it. Yes.
Oh.
And she is a certified womb sauna practitioner. Congratulations on recently completing your training and being even more emboldened and embodied in this work. So let's get into it. When was the last time you felt completely overwhelmed by the demands of your life, but was able to override that pressure and feeling of overwhelm? And what were some of the things you did to accomplish that?
Well, most recently, actually yesterday. So I've been learning how to control my breath more. So I have to like take deep breaths and calm down. And normally when I get overwhelmed, I go and take a bath because it's like everything washes away. If I had an ocean as my bath, I would definitely use that. But I always try to incorporate the water and like time by myself because I feel like if everyone is around me, it doesn't allow me to just center within myself, see what if I'm feeling what I'm feeling, or is it somebody else's feelings. So taking that time to be by myself, be in the water. And also I had to journal too because my placement as a Gemini sun, I always have things going on in my head. So I have to get those things out so I won't be so overwhelmed to the point where I make up crazy scenarios in my head and start self-sabotaging. So those are some of the things I do. As well as tea, I had to drink some lemon balm. That's one of my favorites to help me to relax.
Mm-hmm. That's so funny because I'm a Gemini sun sign as well. And then I have Leo in my rising and Cancer in my moon. So yeah, I'm interesting. So I can relate to needing to train your mind. And regardless of what your astrology sign is, you still got to train your mind. But for us
Absolutely.
air signs, it's a lot of effort because our head is also our strength. So it can be our catch 22. It can be the reason that we are thriving in our creativity and power. And it can also be what derails us when it has no discipline. So I love some of the tools that you share, like the lemon balm. I too love lemon balm tea. Um, and also the breath work. I always like to say your breath is the evidence that God is real in you. The fact that
Mhm.
you woke up and tells you God is real because you're doing that and you don't even have to consciously think about it. Your organs and everything is responding to that breath. It is the divine presence. It is the divine essence. Or from the biblical perspective, the very thing that brought the flesh and spirit together and activated, and
Yeah.
man became a living soul, right? So, do you find that, and you said something key, I don't want the people who are listening to miss, do you find that you often, through your empathic nature, pick up energy from other people that you constantly have to clear so that you're not feeling overwhelmed and you're able to filter what belongs to you and what doesn't?
Absolutely. That's why I have to get into the water to wash all of that away because I'm the type of person I always want to help. So it's like whatever I'm feeling, I want to help that. And it may be somebody else's emotion. So I'm like, okay, let me figure out what I can do for me. And then if I have extra, then I will do for them. But I won't know if I don't take that moment to figure those things out.
Hmm. Hmm. So being able to literally identify what belongs to you and what doesn't is foundational because you are the
Absolutely.
emotional alchemist, right? So you understand how feeling other people's stuff can derail your power, your strength, and your energy. But what if you're like a mother? What if you're like a caregiver? What if you're a wife? How do you honor your covenants with other people, but not let it drain you? What's the balance?
So I have a daughter, so I always teach her to identify her emotions because she doesn't even have to say anything and I can just feel what's going on with her. Like if she's upset or whatever, happy, whatever. So I'm like, okay, I help her to be like, okay, let's sit down. What exactly are you feeling? What can
Hmm.
you do with this? Do you feel like you need to do anything with this? Do you just want to sit, talk, draw, whatever? The people around me, I do my best to get them to honor their emotions so we won't be playing tit for tat, like projecting on each other. That's something that I
Hmm.
don't want to do. So I teach her how to deal with those things
Oh,
because
that's
I'm not
good because,
responsible for someone else's emotions.
right. And I think too often we are socially conditioned to give people too much power in what we feel. We're constantly saying, "Oh, you make me sad," or "You make me happy," or "You make me." What do you make yourself? And
Absolutely.
and do you have emotional discipline? I have a 7-day emotional discipline masterclass that I teach every year. And in that process, I'm literally teaching people the same way you got to have discipline if you want to build your triceps so you know what number of reps you need to do to build that muscle. Do you actually know what to do with what you're feeling? Do you even know what feelings belong to you and which ones don't? Do you
Mhm.
even understand how to properly place the value of your emotions? People who live according to everything they feel tend to be the people who are always overwhelmed. I have been walking down the street and felt like somebody was walking behind me, turned around and no one was there. Imagine if I rearranged the rest of my day for that moment, right? Like, and just because
Yes.
I felt it didn't make it true. And so I just love that you folded in that layer of how other people's feelings can attach to you and how you're conscious about that. So you interact with people in a way that allows them to decide what to do with their own feelings. I strategically, mindfully, intentionally abandon people. And I know some of y'all listening, they're like, damn, Tamer, you a little rough sometimes. No, not my assignment. You got a God too. Put that in the comment section. Not my assignment. You have a God too. Now, I know I'm God in these streets, and I know I activate a lot of miracles in people's lives because I'm God embodied, but I'm not your God. I'm the God of my life. And I hope that when people encounter me, it puts them in touch with themselves as God of their own lives. What do you do when you get people who have unhealthy attachments in your orbit?
So that's, I'm not gonna lie, that's something I'm still working on because I'm very social. But if I see a pattern of the same thing over and over and it's not adding to my life, we're not adding to each other in any way, that I slowly but surely pull myself back, because I can't give you pieces of me that you're not willing to give of yourself. And I feel like some people don't even know how to do that because of their experiences or their perceptions.
Yeah. Not only do people not know how to reciprocate, sometimes they don't even know what to do with your generosity. Because as a God being, as a God aware woman, like, I'm generous. Sometimes I'm sowing seeds with people who can't give me back what I give them. And I'm not even giving them what I give them for that reason. Sometimes I'm just doing it because I got overflow and I can pour. But if you misuse my energy, put that in the comment section. If you misuse my energy, ... what's going to follow that? It reminds me of the phrase that says you teach people how to treat you. Well, the way that you do that is through your boundaries. And sometimes as women, we think it's enough to have boundaries, but then we don't enforce them. So what's the point of having the rule if it can be broken and you still get the same access, the same care, the same attention, the same resources, right? So that's what I meant earlier when I said I strategically, intentionally, mindfully abandon people. There are some people who absolutely don't understand how to channel my energy correctly, even if I explain it to them and give them the manual and step by step. Some people just are not a vibrational match. It's not personal, it's vibrational. Put some hearts, put an exclamation mark in the comments. Let me know if you felt that. It's not personal. And when you recognize that somebody's presence could deregulate you emotionally, that doesn't mean either of you have to be wrong or bad.
Right.
It can just mean that you're just not a vibrational match. And sometimes that's for the moment. Sometimes it's for the year. Sometimes it's the gap is too big to close vibrationally. And I think we need more instructions and resources around how we socialize, especially in this internet, social media age. What's your perspective on that? Are we socializing well?
No, I don't think so at all. And it took me a long time to even get into social media because of that. Like, even with texting, I'd rather talk to you on the phone so you can hear the fluctuations in my voice and everything like that. I need those things to feel connected. So that's my biggest thing, communication. And that's why I ask so many questions, like, on people will think, like, we'll have a conversation, right? I'm like, somebody be like, oh, well, I like this type of paper because it writes well. Well, I would ask, okay, what makes you like that? Like, it's the feeling of you here. What emotions do you feel? Like, I dive deep into that to see, okay, what exactly is it that you're getting from this or that you're not getting from this? Because everybody's not going to have the same experience.
That's so true. And everybody has permission to have their own experience, right? Like, just because you're having your own interpretation of what's happening doesn't mean I'm not entitled to mine.
Absolutely.
I had divorced one of my lovers last year and ended our covenant with one another. And one of the things he said, because I feel like personally, the cuss out I gave him was the best I've ever given an ex. I feel like somebody should have gave me a damn badge for the way I dragged him, right? And Y'all just never know what's gonna come out my mouth. Oh, but he earned it. I'm intentional and mindful, and I'm fully integrated in my light and darkness. So if you summon her, she gonna answer now. So be careful who you ask for and how you show up with me. And so he earned it, and I was thorough with it. But one of the things he insisted on, and it was really embedded in his value system, and it is what made us completely incompatible. He swore he was always right.
Mm.
I can't stand a person who thinks only in right or wrong when everything in nature and on earth gives you shades of color. Nothing is only black and white. And so how do you approach life and configuring an experience with other people and you always right and everybody else is always wrong? How could that possibly be real? But I find that people who hold on to that kind of value system, they do so because they actually are so ego driven, right? That the only way they can feel relief from the pressure of life is to render themselves as always right and correct. Because the weight, they're not emotionally mature enough to be wrong or to just be outside of a value system that's always either right or wrong. Why can't it just always be an experience that we all source wisdom and growth from, that we all brought our best to, even if our best was not enough? Right? So when you call yourself the emotional alchemist and you give these codes that you've been given in this interview to help the people understand what to do when they're feeling the pressure, how do you address when their ego is triggered?
That's something I've actually been working on lately because I've been feeling like I've had to have control over everything and even over people, like when I give them advice and things like that. So there are gray areas. That's what I had to learn for myself. So it's interesting that you brought that up. When things become too logical and there's no room for creativity or child play, then you need to take things back. Because when I come too logical, that's when things don't work out, or from my perception of what it should be. Yes, do plan, but don't over plan. Leave room for some surprises and spontaneity to happen. Because it can be depressing when you always are like, okay, this is supposed to be here, that's supposed to be there. Not to say that you don't need to have structure, but allow your boat to rock, if that makes sense.
It does. It does. Thank you for that. So I love what you're sharing and the jewels that you're dropping, and you empower women, right? That's part of your work and your core expression. So if somebody needs to connect with you and dive a little bit deeper into really alchemizing their emotions and becoming balanced with how they experience and express what they feel, first off, tell them what area you're in, and then tell them what they can expect in a womb sauna experience with you.
Okay, so I am in the South Texas area in Corpus Christi, Texas. You can contact me by email or my phone number. My email is www.wombsauna. I'm sorry, that's not an email.
She was about to drop my website. She rock with us. It was like, you find Tamer, you find me. Like,
we all together.
That's how we roll over here.
Okay, so the email is Woman Heals. That's spelled WOMBHEALS @gmail.com. You can contact me through email or through my phone number, which is 202-230-3687. So in a womb sauna experience with me, you can expect to have things revealed that you may not have known before. I am a very patient person. I will listen to you, allow you to express yourself in any way that you feel fit. I will hold sacred space for you. I work with my crystals and also Palo Santo and things of that nature, and also with my intuition. So we can connect with your ancestors. Whoever needs to come up, they will come up, because they always do. my one thing that I always want to do is make sure that we're following up on things so we can both hold each other accountable in this experience that we're going to have together. It's not just me sitting you on the thing, we're connecting, and I want you to be able to follow up with things so you can see the progress that you're looking for. So we're getting out of the loops that we've been in to create new pathways for ourselves. So that's what you can expect from me in the experience.
I love that. I love how you explain the tools that you're going to use and the outcomes you're going to experience. Sisters, I'm just telling you, I know some incredible women. I am in relationship with some of the most powerful, influential women in the world. In the world. And it feels really, really humbling to be with, because sometimes I don't know if you've ever like met somebody that you admired from afar, or like maybe a celebrity, and then you meet them in real life and you're like, why was I so impressed? But
Yeah.
I've had that experience where I'm like, dang, I was sitting here putting you on my vision board and thinking that I wanted to be like you. You know what I mean? And then I met you, and then I realized that something's a little off in comparison to what you present and how you actually are. I'm hoping that those listening to this interview with you feel activated and called to a greater level of authenticity and maturity about what they feel. I can't tell you how many relationships I have seen ruined, sisterhood, romantic, professional, personal, because they didn't know how to alchemize their emotions. They didn't know how to properly place the responsibility of what they felt. I don't want y'all to miss that. Put an exclamation mark in the comment section if you caught it. You don't know how to properly place the responsibility of what you feel. So you go through life robbing other people of their genuine expression of themselves to tend to your emotions. Because you haven't owned what you feel and figured out what to do with it for yourself. That's how we end up with trauma bonds. That's how we end up with unhealthy codependency. That's how we end up with backstabbing, two-faced people. It's all rooted in I feel some type of way, and this is how I choose to express it, and I haven't elevated that. Haven't transformed that. I haven't taken it higher. And I'm inviting you through this interview to connect if you're in the Texas area, or if you want to get to Texas because you resonate with Woman Hills so much, right? That you're like, I got to get to sis. She looks so fly and so cute in that blue. I think I'm resonating. I got on blue today. Who knows? Whatever the connection is for you.
Yes.
Press. Do your work. The reward is attached to the work that you do. You can deliver yourself instead of waiting on God or something outside of you to deliver you. Be thine own salvation. Save yourself from another year of repeating the same cycle and pattern. Save yourself. Save yourself from more of the same by becoming different. And if you resonate with that, put that in a comment section. Now, in the description of the live, you're going to see how to stay connected. I'm going to make sure I put Charessa's contact information there so you can stay in touch. And then, of course, you can always go to thewombsauna.com and look at our directory for our practitioners. It's under the About Us tab. And you can type in the name, zip code, find someone near you. Our brand is in 17 countries as of today and is growing rapidly. And I am heavily recruiting people of like mind and spirit to be all hands on deck. We tribe over here. We don't just give you a certificate and you don't hear from me. Like, I'm invested. Like, there's a healing cord, there's a cord of love and nurturing and resources that we exchange in my community. And I use everything that I have, all of my resources, to support my students and make sure that their name goes up in lights. And so I just love this vibe and this flow that we have and this opportunity to just exchange this energy the way that we do. I like to say that the womb sauna is the womb of the marketplace, and we are fruitful and we multiply. And so if you are feeling activated and there's this energy stirring up, stay connected. It's for a reason. It is not a coincidence. And so thank you so much, incredible woman, for
Thank
letting me
you.
interview you and pick your brain today and pick through your heart. Are there any other words or things you want to say to the people before we go?
Yes. Even if you feel like you have messed up, it's never over. So just pick yourself back up, dust yourself off, get your tea, talk to your womb, and get back on it.
Wise words. Wise words. Keep going, my people. Keep going. Press towards the mark. I think that's how the scripture goes. Press towards the mark of the high calling. Right? There's more for you. There's more for you. As long as there's more satisfaction for you. So go after it. Thank you so much for your time. I know you're a busy woman, that you got business and children and all of that, right? So I do not take your time for granted. And it was an honor being able to interview you today and share you with the people. And so, everybody, I hope you were blessed and enjoyed the conversation. And I cannot wait to offer you more. We empower women over here. You can always bank on that and expect an offering from me and my sisters. We love you.